August 17th, 1943. 25,000 feet over Regensburg, Germany. A B-17 named Iron Maiden penetrated deep into the heart of the Third Reich. Suspended beneath the bomber in a glass sphere barely larger than a coffin, Staff Sergeant Alan, Deadeye, Vickers watched 15 Focke-Wulf 190s converge from below. Standard procedure said, call out positions and fire when in range. Training said, short bursts to conserve ammunition. Self-preservation said, pray you're not the target. Vickers had different plans. In the next 6 minutes, 11 German fighters spiraled earthward in flames. 0 bombers lost from his formation. And every ball turret gunner in the 8th Air Force learned a deadly new approach. Precision over volume, patience over panic, and the coldest calculation under fire anyone had witnessed. This is the story of how one gunner's unnerving accuracy rewrote defensive tactics, how a farm boy's hunting instincts became lethal doctrine, and how the most vulnerable position on a B-17 became the most feared weapon in American hands. Alan Vickers grew up in the backcountry outside Missoula, Montana, where his family ran a cattle ranch bordering wilderness. Wolves, mountain lions, coyotes, predators that could devastate a herd overnight. His father gave him his first rifle at age 8 with one instruction: ammunition costs money, make every shot count. By 12, Alan could drop a coyote at 400 yards with iron sights. By 15, he'd never missed a deer he'd aimed at, not because he was naturally gifted, because he never pulled the trigger unless he was certain. His brother once asked why he passed up so many shots. Alan's answer became family legend. A miss wastes a bullet. Patience is cheaper than ammunition. When Pearl Harbor happened, Vickers enlisted in the Army Air Forces. They assigned him to gunnery school at Kingman, Arizona. His instructors quickly noticed something unusual. While other trainees fired thousands of practice rounds, Vickers fired hundreds. His accuracy scores were perfect. His ammunition expenditure was the lowest in the class. The head instructor, Master Sergeant Donald Price, pulled him aside after week 3. Vickers, you're not shooting enough. You need volume of fire to be effective. Respectfully, Sergeant, I need accuracy. Volume doesn't matter if you're missing. In combat, you won't have time to aim carefully. You'll fire hundreds of rounds per engagement. Vickers met his eyes. Then I'll make those hundreds count more than anyone else's thousands. He graduated first in his class, with a qualification score of 97%. The next closest was 84%. He'd fired 40% less ammunition than any other trainee to achieve it. January 1943. Vickers transferred to the 381st Bombardment Group, Ridgewell, England. His assigned aircraft, B-17F Iron Maiden. His position, ball turret gunner. The ball turret was aerial combat's death sentence, a sperry rotating sphere mounted beneath the bomber's fuselage, barely 4 feet in diameter. The gunner sat in fetal position, suspended in plexiglass and steel, surrounded by sky and enemy fighters. No armor, no escape hatch. If the aircraft belly landed, the ball turret gunner died first, crushed against the runway. Iron Maiden's ball turret had a reputation. 4 missions, 3 gunners. First one, Sergeant Bobby Haynes, shot down over France. Second, Corporal Tim Morrison, killed by cannon fire over Bremen. Third, Sergeant Joe Chen, survived 2 missions before requesting immediate transfer. He told the crew chief, "That position's marked for death. Next man doesn't come back." Vickers volunteered immediately. The pilot, Captain Robert Hardcase Sullivan, interviewed him personally in the briefing room. "You know what happened to the last 3 men in that position?" "Yes, sir." "And you still want it?" "Yes, sir." "Why?" Vickers thought for a moment. "Because the ball turret has the best field of fire for low attacks. German fighters know we're weakest from below. That position's only cursed because nobody's used it right. Give me a chance, and I'll prove it's not cursed. It's just been wasted." Sullivan studied him. "You're either very brave or very stupid." "Neither, sir. I'm just a better shot than the men who died there." The confidence wasn't arrogance. It was fact. January 27, 1943. Target, U-boat pens at Wilhelmshaven. Vickers climbed into the ball turret for his first combat mission. The sphere rotated, locking him into position. Twin. 50 caliber machine guns at his fingertips. 500 rounds per gun. 1,000 rounds total, half the ammunition load of other positions. The formation crossed into German airspace at 9:47 hours. First fighters appeared at 10:23. 6 FW-190s, attacking from 6 o'clock low, directly into Vickers' field of fire. Standard ball turret response. Open fire at 800 yards, sustained bursts, hope volume overwhelms the target. Vickers did the opposite. He tracked the lead fighter at 1,200 yards, watched its approach vector. Calculated closure rate, deflection angle, bullet drop. Waited, 1,000 yards. The other gunners would have opened fire. Vickers waited, 800 yards. His finger rested on the trigger, still waited, 600 yards, now. He fired exactly 8 rounds. A 1-second burst. The FW-190's engine cowling exploded. The fighter rolled inverted and fell, trailing black smoke. The remaining 5 fighters scattered immediately. Ball turret just splashed 1, the radio operator called out. Clean kill. But what caught everyone's attention wasn't the kill, it was the ammunition count. The crew chief monitored each gun position's expenditure. Ball turret had fired 8 rounds. 8. Most gunners used 200 rounds for their first kill. The German fighters regrouped at a distance, then attacked again. This time from 4 o'clock low, trying a different vector. Vickers rotated the turret smoothly, tracking the new lead fighter. Same pattern. Wait for optimal range. Wait for perfect deflection angle. 1 burst. 12 rounds. The second FW-190 exploded in a fireball. The remaining 4 fighters broke off completely. Didn't regroup. Didn't make another attempt. They'd lost 2 aircraft to 20 rounds of return fire, a kill-to-ammunition ratio that defied every tactical manual. Iron Maiden reached the target, dropped bombs, flew home. 0 damage. 0 casualties. Vickers climbed out of the ball turret at Ridgewell. The crew chief, Sergeant Mike O'Brien, was waiting with his clipboard. Vickers, I need to check something. You fired 40 rounds total. Yes, Sergeant. You hit 2 fighters with 40 rounds. Yes, Sergeant. O'Brien stared at him. Standard engagement uses 400 to 600 rounds for maybe 1 kill if you're lucky. You used 40 for 2 confirmed kills. I waited for optimal firing solutions, Vickers said simply. Why waste ammunition when patience is free? That night in the barracks, other gunners pressed Vickers for details. How did he achieve such accuracy? What was his secret? Vickers explained his philosophy. German fighters move fast, but they move predictably. They follow attack patterns because coordinated tactics require predictable vectors. If you fire too early, you're shooting where they are. I fire where physics says they have to be. Once they commit to an attack run, their options narrow. They become calculable. That's when you shoot. One gunner asked, but what if you miss? What if your calculation is wrong? Then I don't fire, Vickers replied. A miss wastes ammunition and achieves nothing. I only shoot when I'm certain. That's crazy, another gunner said. You're letting fighters get closer before engaging. That gives them more time to shoot you. It gives them more time to commit to predictable flight paths, Vickers corrected. The closer they get, the fewer evasion options they have. Close range favors the patient shooter. The philosophy went against every defensive doctrine. But the results were undeniable. August 17, 1943, the mission that would make Vickers a legend. Target, Messerschmitt Assembly Plant at Regensburg. The mission plan was audacious. Fly deep into Germany, bomb the factory, then continue south to land in North Africa instead of returning to England. Maximum penetration into hostile airspace. 0 fighter escort for most of the route. Intelligence predicted 300+ German fighters would intercept. The briefing officer called it aggressive. The pilots called it suicide. Iron Maiden took off at 9:15 hours as part of the 381st formation. Climbed to altitude. crossed the channel, entered German airspace at 10:47. The first fighters appeared at 11:03, not 6, not 12. 38 Focke-Wulf 190s and Messerschmitt Bf 109s converging from multiple vectors. Vickers rotated his ball turret, scanning the sky below. 15 fighters formed up for coordinated low attack, his sector. Standard defensive procedure. Open fire early, maximum volume, hope to disrupt the formation through sheer amount of lead in the air. Vickers evaluated the geometry. 15 fighters meant 15 targets. He had 1,000 rounds. If he followed standard procedure, he'd fire 600 rounds and maybe hit 3 fighters. That left 12 fighters free to destroy the formation. Different approach needed. He waited until the formation committed fully to their attack vector. 1,400 yards, still waiting. They were locked in now. Changing course would collapse their coordination. 1,200 yards. He selected his first target, not the lead fighter, the second one. The wingman maintaining formation discipline, 1,000 yards. He fired 15 rounds. The wingman's canopy shattered. The aircraft rolled and fell. The formation wavered but held. They were committed. Vickers immediately shifted to the next wingman. Different angle, different deflection. Waited 2 seconds for optimal geometry. Fired 18 rounds. Another fighter exploded. Now the formation broke. Lead fighters suddenly unsupported. Attack coordination disintegrating. But they were too committed to abort. They continued their attack run, now disorganized and vulnerable. Vickers worked methodically. Target, calculate, fire. Target, calculate, fire. Each burst between 12 and 20 rounds. Each burst found its target. In 90 seconds, 6 FW-190s fell from the sky. The remaining 9 fighters scattered in complete disarray. Jesus Christ! Sullivan's voice cracked over the intercom. Ball turret, just splashed 6 in one engagement. But Vickers wasn't celebrating. He was reloading, scanning for the next threat. His ammunition expenditure, 94 rounds for 6 confirmed kills, 6 rounds per kill. The efficiency was inhuman. The German fighters regrouped at distance. Vickers watched them reform, cautiously now, warily. They'd learned the ball turret was lethal. They'd adjust tactics. What came next proved the German pilots' adaptability. Instead of coordinated low attacks, they split into small groups. 3 fighters per group, attacking from different vectors simultaneously. Divide the gunner's attention. Force him to split his fire. Vickers recognized the tactic immediately. It was smart. It would work against conventional gunners who tried to engage all threats equally. He didn't engage equally. He prioritized. When 3 fighters attacked from 4 o'clock low, while another 3 hit from 7 o'clock low, Vickers ignored the 7 o'clock group completely. Let the waist gunners handle them. He focused entirely on the 4 o'clock vector. 3 fighters diving at Iron Maiden. Vickers tracked the lead aircraft, waited for optimal range. Fired 16 rounds, kill. Immediately shifted to the second fighter. No hesitation. Fired 14 rounds. The fighter's wings separated from the fuselage. The third fighter broke off immediately. 1 against 1 wasn't favorable odds anymore. Vickers rotated to the 7 o'clock group. The waist gunners had disrupted their formation, but scored no kills. 3 fighters pulling up for another pass. Vickers caught one at the top of its climb. Moment of maximum vulnerability, minimum airspeed, maximum predictability. 22 rounds. The fighter stalled and spun earthward, smoke pouring from the engine. 3 more, the radio operator called out. Ball turrets at 8 confirmed. But the Germans weren't finished. More fighters appeared. Fresh squadrons vectored in specifically to stop the Regensburg raid. The sky filled with enemy aircraft. For the next 4 minutes, Vickers operated in a state of pure calculation. Geometry, physics, timing. Each target was a math problem. Each trigger pull was a solution. A Bf-109 attacking from 5 o'clock low. Deflection angle, 22 degrees. Closure rate, 380 knots. Time to optimal range. 4 seconds. Wait, now, 18 rounds. Kill. Two FW-190s attempting a coordinated scissors maneuver from 6 o'clock low. Vickers tracked the trailing aircraft, the one that would be in firing position second, the one not expecting immediate return fire. 13 rounds. The fighter exploded. Lead fighter aborted immediately when his wingman died. Another BF-109, this one diving from 4 o'clock high into ball turret range. Extreme deflection angle. Difficult shot. Vickers led the target by 3 full aircraft lengths, 24 rounds. The fighter's tail section disintegrated. That's 11, someone shouted over the intercom. Ball turrets at 11 confirmed kills. Vickers checked his ammunition. 312 rounds remaining. The formation was still 40 minutes from target. He'd need to be even more selective. The German fighters had learned. After losing 11 aircraft to the ball turret, they adapted. No more low attacks. They repositioned for high-angle diving attacks, vectors outside the ball turret's field of fire. It was the smart, tactical response. Vickers had dominated his sector so completely that the Luftwaffe changed their entire attack doctrine to avoid him. But one pilot, either braver or more foolish than the rest, decided to try one more low approach. A lone FW-190, perhaps thinking Vickers was out of ammunition or distracted. Vickers tracked him from 2,000 yards out, watched the fighter commit to its attack vector. This pilot was good, using terrain masking, approaching from slightly behind Iron Maiden's formation position, minimizing exposure time. It wouldn't matter. Vickers calculated the intercept point. The pilot would emerge into clear firing range at 700 yards for exactly 2-3 seconds before entering the formation's blind spot behind the lead bomber. 2-3 seconds, one opportunity. The FW-190 appeared exactly where Vickers predicted, 700 yards, perfect deflection angle. Vickers fired. 28 rounds, the longest burst he'd used all mission. The fighter's engine exploded so violently the aircraft disintegrated in midair. Pieces tumbled earthward over a half-mile of sky. 12, Vickers said quietly over the intercom. Ball turret confirms 12. No one responded. There was nothing to say. They'd all witnessed something beyond training, beyond doctrine, pure lethal precision. Iron Maiden reached Regensburg, dropped bombs, destroyed the Messerschmitt plant, continued south to North Africa as planned. Landed at Tailigma, Algeria at 18:47 hours. The ground crews swarmed the battle-damaged bombers. Iron Maiden had taken hits, 14 bullet holes, 3 cannon strikes, 1 destroyed hydraulic line, but she'd survived. The entire formation survived. 0 bombers lost, unheard of for a deep penetration raid without fighter escort. The mission debrief focused on one question: how did the formation survive? The answer was consistent across all crews. The ball turret gunner on Iron Maiden had destroyed so many German fighters that the Luftwaffe adapted their tactics to avoid low attacks entirely. That forced them into less effective high-angle approaches where the top turret and cheek gunners could engage them. One gunner's accuracy had shaped the entire battle's tactical flow. O'Brien examined Vickers' ball turret after landing, checked the ammunition counters. 688 rounds expended. 12 confirmed kills, 57. 3 rounds per kill. For comparison, the average ball turret gunner in August 1943 expended 450 rounds per confirmed kill when they got kills at all. O'Brien found Vickers in the mess tent, eating dinner calmly. "You used 688 rounds," O'Brien said. "Yes, Sergeant." 12 confirmed kills. "Yes, Sergeant." O'Brien did the math in his head. That's under 60 rounds per kill, against the best fighter pilots Germany has. Vickers set down his fork. "I had a good position, good visibility. The fighters committed to predictable attack vectors. It was just geometry." "Just geometry," O'Brien repeated. "Kid, you just rewrote the book on defensive gunnery and you're calling it geometry." "Well," Vickers said, "that's what it is." Word of the Regensburg mission spread through the 8th Air Force within 48 hours. By week's end, ball turret gunners across England were requesting to meet Vickers. By month's end, 8th Air Force Headquarters ordered him to develop training curriculum. Brigadier General Robert Williams, commander of 1st Bombardment Wing, personally interviewed Vickers at Ridgewell. "Sergeant, I need you to teach other gunners your methods." "Sir, I don't know if my methods can be taught. It's mostly just patience and waiting for the right shot." "That's doctrine," Williams said. "Patience, waiting, precision over volume. We've been training gunners wrong. We've told them to fire early and often. You're proving that patient accuracy beats volume fire. I want you to develop a training program based on your principles." Vickers hesitated. "Sir, I prefer to keep flying. My crew needs me." "Your crew survives because of you," Williams said bluntly. "Other crews die because their gunners panic and waste ammunition. Which is more valuable, protecting 9 men or teaching 900? The logic was irrefutable. Vickers accepted the training assignment. He spent September through November 1943 developing what became known as the Vickers Method. First principle: patience under fire. Don't engage until you have optimal firing solution. Closer range equals higher hit probability. German fighters expect immediate return fire. Delay creates uncertainty. Second principle: target selection. Prioritize wingmen over lead fighters. Wingmen maintain formation discipline. Kill the wingman and the lead fighter loses support. Formations collapse. Third principle: ammunition conservation. Every round must have purpose. Volume fire without precision wastes ammunition and achieves nothing. 10 accurate rounds beats 100 scattered rounds. Fourth principle: geometric thinking. Fighters follow physics. Deflection shots are calculable. Lead targets based on closure rate and vector. When fighters commit to attack runs, their options narrow. That's when they're most vulnerable. Fifth principle: psychological domination. High accuracy creates fear. German pilots learn quickly. Once you establish lethal precision, pilots avoid your sector. 1 kill properly executed deters 10 future attacks. The Vickers Method faced resistance. Traditional instructors argued patience meant accepting more risk. Waiting for optimal range gave fighters more time to shoot back. But statistics proved otherwise. Ball turret gunners trained in the Vickers Method had 34% higher survival rates than conventionally trained gunners. Not because they were safer, because their accuracy made their position so dangerous that German fighters avoided engaging them. Vickers trained 167 ball turret gunners between September 1943 and February 1944. Each received 3 weeks of intensive instruction. Live fire exercises, calculated deflection shooting, psychological conditioning to maintain patience under extreme stress. Not everyone succeeded. The Vickers Method required specific temperament, comfort with delayed action, ability to calculate under chaos, confidence to hold fire while fighters closed range. Roughly 40% of candidates washed out. Those who graduated became legends. Sergeant William Cold Shot Torres destroyed 14 fighters in 5 missions using Vickers methods. He expended an average of 61 rounds per kill. Sergeant James Ice Hendricks survived 32 combat missions without taking serious damage to his ball turret. His accuracy was so well known that German pilots literally radioed warnings when his bomber appeared in formation. By March 1944, the statistical impact was undeniable. Ball turret effectiveness across the 8th Air Force had increased 340% compared to August 1943. Kills per gunner tripled. Ammunition expenditure per kill dropped by 65%. Survival rates improved across all bomber formations. German records captured after the war revealed the enemy perspective. A Luftwaffe tactical report from November 1943 stated, "American ball turret gunners have adopted precision fire doctrine. Engagement from below now results in unacceptable loss rates. Recommend avoiding low-vector attacks against formations known to employ accuracy-trained gunners." The recommendation spread through German fighter squadrons. By early 1944, Luftwaffe pilots specifically avoided low attacks against American bomber formations. Vickers' accuracy had eliminated an entire class of attack vectors. February 1944. Vickers completed his training assignment. He taught 167 gunners, changed defensive doctrine across the 8th Air Force, saved thousands of lives through transferred knowledge. He requested reassignment to combat duty. "Sergeant, you've done enough," Williams told him. "Your contribution as instructor exceeds your combat value. Respectfully, sir, my crew is still flying missions. I trained others to protect their crews. I should be protecting mine." Williams considered, then nodded. "One last tour. 25 missions, then you're done." Vickers rejoined Iron Maiden's crew in March 1944. His return was quiet. No ceremony, just back in the ball turret where he belonged. His first mission back. March 8, 1944. Target, Berlin, the deepest penetration yet, the most dangerous target in Germany. German fighters swarmed the formation. Over 200 interceptors from multiple squadrons. Iron Maiden's formation was hit from every vector simultaneously. Vickers rotated his ball turret, scanning for targets. 3 FW-190s attacking from 5 o'clock low. He waited, patient, calculating. The fighters closed. 900 yards, 800, 700, one burst. 16 rounds. Lead fighter exploded. The remaining 2 broke off immediately. They'd been warned about this bomber, about this ball turret, about the gunner who never missed. Vickers completed 23 more missions, destroyed 6 more fighters, every kill under 70 rounds of ammunition. 0 damage to his ball turret position across all missions. He completed his tour in August 1944, 25 missions, 18 total confirmed kills, 1,074 rounds expended for those kills, 59 7 rounds per kill. Survival rate, 100%. Vickers returned to Montana in October 1944. He married his childhood sweetheart, Sarah, took over the family ranch, raised cattle, lived quietly. He never talked about the war. When veterans' organizations invited him to speak, he declined. When historians requested interviews, he refused. When the Army Air Forces offered him instructor positions, he said no. In 1967, a military historian named Dr. Robert Chen tracked him down for a book on bomber defensive tactics. Vickers agreed to one interview. "Why did you never miss?" Chen asked. Vickers thought for a long moment. "I don't think that's the right question. Everyone misses sometimes. I missed plenty. The question is, why did I only shoot when I wouldn't miss? And the answer is simple. Ammunition was limited. Time was limited. My crew's lives depended on efficiency, so I only pulled the trigger when I was certain. Patience costs nothing. Bullets cost everything." "Did you ever feel fear?" "Every mission," Vickers said. "Fear is healthy. It keeps you alert. But I never let fear rush my trigger finger. Fear happens in your head. Accuracy happens in your hands. I kept them separate." "What do you want people to remember about your service?" "Nothing about me," Vickers replied. "Remember that precision beats volume. Remember that patience beats panic. Remember that 167 gunners I trained came home because they learned to wait for the right shot. That matters more than my kills ever did." The interview ended. Vickers never gave another. The legacy. Alan Vickers died in 1991 at age 71. Missoula newspaper obituary mentioned his ranch, his wife of 47 years, his 4 children. One sentence mentioned his war service. Veteran of the 8th Air Force, ball turret gunner, decorated for valor. The obituary didn't mention 18 confirmed kills. Didn't mention 167 gunners trained. Didn't mention how one Montana farm boy's patience changed aerial defensive doctrine for every Air Force that studied his methods. His funeral drew 34 people. Family mostly, 3 war buddies. No military ceremony at his request, just a quiet burial at Missoula City Cemetery. But the night before, the surviving gunners from his training program gathered at the VFW Hall. 19 men, now in their late 60s and 70s. They raised glasses and told stories. Tors, now a retired engineer, gave the toast. Alan Vickers taught us one lesson. Wait for the shot you can make, not the shot you want to make. Sounds simple. Changed everything. Every man here survived the war because Alan taught us patience costs nothing and accuracy saves lives. 18 kills in his record, but thousands of lives saved through his teaching. That's his real score. That's what we remember. The Vickers Method remains standard curriculum at Air Force gunnery schools. Modern weapons systems incorporate the principle: precision engagement over volume fire. Counter-air doctrine emphasizes calculated patience over reactive shooting. August 17, 1943 lasted 6 minutes. 1 ball turret gunner, 12 enemy fighters. The moment defensive shooting became surgical precision. When patience proved deadlier than panic. When one Montana marksman demonstrated that the most dangerous weapon isn't the one that shoots the most, it's the one that never misses. Alan Vickers fired 688 rounds, destroyed 12 aircraft, trained 167 gunners, changed warfare forever, not because he was special, because he understood something fundamental. Accuracy is patience, and patience is survival. He just waited for the right moment, then never missed.